We're almost halfway through the year, and a lot of people are running on empty without fully realizing it. Grow Therapy helps you find care that's covered by insurance before burnout becomes the baseline. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/booknow to get started. That's growtherapy.com/booknow. growtherapy.com/booknow. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to the Black Tax. There's an African proverb that says, if your family does not sell you, strangers will not buy you. I speak very highly of my family. My great-grandmother, my mother's grandmother, is the last enslaved woman in my family. She is also the first to be college educated. My dad's grandmother immigrated into this country in 1918 from Jamaica. She brought 2 of her smallest children with her. The following year, my grandmother immigrated to America from Jamaica after she finished Jamaica College and came to New York to work for her godfather, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So I come from a family of educated individuals on both sides. I am 4th generation college educated. But I also have some of the dumbest motherfuckers as family members who are scientists and educators and brilliant in their fields, but dumb as a bunch of fucking bricks. So I like to be a historian of my family. There are things I know that my family look at me and like, I didn't know that. And I was like, why don't you know that? I've known this my entire life. But information shared with individuals who will hold on to it and carry on the legacy is how I was deemed to be. I know the plantation that my great grandmother lived on and how many generations from that lived on that plantation. Who the slave master's last name was Vollmer. How my great grandmother spoke fluent German because the slave masters spoke German. My great grandmother and my great great grandmother could read and write. Why? Because the mistress of the house was an elderly woman who was sick and her husband was illiterate. So she entrusted my great great grandmother, who taught my grandmother to read and write and how to do math and how to educate her husband, the slave master, when he went into town to sell his wares, how not to be cheated. Because they would ask certain questions in the middle of things. They would, excuse me, massa, excuse me, Nana, Mama said I need to make sure to remind you. They would do those kind of things that would then tell the slave master that he was getting ripped off, and he would ask for a higher price. And the system worked. For some odd reason, no one heard that story, but I heard it my entire life growing up. My grandparents lived in Baltimore. After slavery was over, my great-grandmother and her mom moved to Baltimore, and that's where my grandmother and her 3 other siblings were born. She met my grandfather, who worked for Baltimore Steel, and they bought their first home. They bought a rooming house across from their first home, and then they had a third home that they were able to get. They have 11 children and 3 other children that they took in that are siblings, but not blood related. My grandfather was able to hold on to all 3 homes during the Depression. My grandfather and my grandmother worked tirelessly to make sure that there was a roof over their children's head, they had food on the table, and that they could maintain what they were building. Years go by, my grandfather dies in 54, my grandmother dies in 71. One of my aunts is living in the house. The house is falling into disarray. The other house was sold, and now I'm an adult, and I'm asking questions about what's going on. So somehow, some way, me asking about the property turned into me trying to steal the property. And this particular cousin got on the phone and she rang everybody else and tried to rally the troops around her theory of what was going on and what I was trying to do. Now, at the time, my ex and I had purchased a brownstone, and somewhere in their head, they thought that if I wanted the house, I was going to buy the house for $400,000. Now, mind you, the house is not worth $400,000. It's barely worth $50,000. It's in not a great neighborhood in Baltimore, but the house is still standing there. One of the row houses on a block of empty row houses next to a convenience store, 1802 Division Street. So my mom calls me and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm at work." She's like, "Well, I got a phone call about you asking about the house and they're wondering why all of a sudden you have an interest in the house." And I was like, "Because I want to make sure the house is taken care of. The house stays in the family. It's a part of our heritage, blah, 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 blah." That turned into her brothers and sisters calling me and like, "What are you trying to do? What are you up to? What are you scamming?" And I was like, first off, who the fuck are you? Don't you ever call me making threats like that. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck your mother for having you. Though she's my grandmother, fuck her, because you a disgrace. Hang up the phone. So now the cousin and I get on the phone and we're talking, and she's like, "Well, I spoke to my prepaid lawyer who told me that you can't do anything with the house without my permission." And I was like, "Well, your prepaid lawyer is an asshole and doesn't know what he's talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. That is Texas law. That is not Maryland law. No one owns the homes. We all collectively own the property together." Why? Because when my grandfather died in 54, they never probated the house. When my grandmother died in 71, the house was never probated. So the first thing that has to happen is we have to go back to 54 and probate it at the value in 54. Then we have to reprobate it again at the value at 71. Then we can talk about what we do next. They went back and forth. They got everybody else against me. It was the family against me. I was the bad guy here. I was the one trying to do something wrong and whatever the case may be. And I was like, and my mother and I got into it and she's like, "Oh, this is ridiculous. You should know better." And I was like, "You know what? Fuck you too. Don't talk to me that way. I will talk to you that way, because all I'm trying to do is hold on to something that my grandfather and grandmother spent their life trying to keep, and keep it as a part of the legacy of this family. But if you niggas want to act that way, fuck you, one and all. I wash my hands of everything." A year go by and I get a phone call. When I look at the phone and I'm like, "Why is this bitch calling me?" I didn't answer it. Then my brother calls like, "Hey, so-and-so is trying to get a hold of you. Are you ignoring her calls?" Abso-fucking-lutely I am. We have nothing to talk about. She's like, "You need to talk to her. I'm gonna put her on the phone." Okay. So he clicks me into the phone and she's like, "Hey, how are you? What do you want?" I'm just, want to see how you doing. How I'm doing is none of your motherfucking business. What do you want? "Well, we just found out that we lost the house and the rooming house for taxes, and it was $719, and now we're trying to figure out how we get it back. So we decided that you should be the one that goes and figure out how to get it back and get it adjudicated so that we can keep the house in the family." Fuck you. Fuck them. Have a great day. And I hang the phone up. My brother calls me back and he's like, "Yo, man, come on." I was like, "Come on what?" When I wanted to protect this, I was a liar. I was a thief. I was everything under the sun. But now you need me. Now you need me to fix it. No, I'm out. No way. You don't get to drag my name in this family and think I'm going to raise a hand and be like, oh my God, we got to fix it. No, because when I wanted to fix it, I was a thief. When I wanted to take care of it, you wanted to manipulate the situation and have me give you $400,000 for a house that's worth $50,000. You were greedy, you were manipulative, you were a liar, and it all caught up with you. The one thing about family, jealousy is an ugly emotion. And when family sees you becoming what your destiny has determined you to be, it irks them. It gets under their skin and they don't know how to handle it. And most of us, because of our family history, generational curses, we go along to get along. Fuck that. Break curses. Break these generational lies that have been standing around and continue to be here. I know I've heard this story many, many times. You know, Uncle Johnny is coming over, or Cousin Williams won't be here, or blah, 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 blah. Go on and put some clothes on. Why the fuck you're letting some man come in and you got to tell your daughters to put clothes on? He don't come in this motherfucking house. I don't understand that concept. But because family want to turn blind eye, and black families especially want to ignore the obvious, that shit's got to stop. Generational curses are demeaning, repetitive, disruptive, and they continue to stop growth. You can't be a part of that. And yes, toxic families are toxic. And we get in these, and many of us have somebody that is toxic in our family. Hell, I'm the toxic one in my family because I say no. Go figure. But you got to be you. Your destiny is great and bright, beautiful and strong. Does not require permission from your family to live your greatest life. You get to be your greatest gift to your ancestors. You get to break generational curses. You get to smile and look back at all that you've accomplished and not had to put up with the bullshit or the guilt laid at your feet because somebody didn't work as hard as you did to achieve the goals you've achieved. Remember, family will drag you down, but standing on 2 feet, planted in your principles, will withstand any force that tries to knock you down. Stay woke. We out.